Hi everybody, happy Christmas. My name is Shemaine Linney. I am owner of Shemaine's Model Health. And I was supposed to do this video on my business page, but it's not working. So I wanted to talk to you about how to prevent brain fog and maintain mental clarity and pretty much stay sharp over Christmas. We all know that we put on a few pounds over Christmas. I mean, that's common knowledge at this stage. But what happens to your brain over Christmas and over the holidays? You may not notice because you get caught up in everything that's happening over Christmas, all the excitement, the fat man comes, there's a lot of alcohol consumed. But if you stop and take a look, you'll notice that your brain is not functioning the way it normally would. You're not functioning at optimal levels, and you're maybe not making the best decisions that you would on a normal day where you haven't consumed, say, so much sugar or alcohol or junk food. So there's a couple of things that you can look at to keep your brain working or optimal over Christmas. And the first, of course, would be sugar. Would be watching your sugar intake, especially over the holidays, because when we consume too much sugar, it has this inflammatory effect on the body, but not just on the body, on your brain as well. So when we consume too much sugar, you may notice that after, say, as some do, a treat day or refeed day, you'll notice that maybe you feel groggy or you're not feeling the best, or maybe you have a food hangover the next day, and that a lot of the time is down to sugar and inflammation in the brain. I know that sugar is not the easiest thing to avoid over Christmas, especially when you're visiting relatives who may not be as aware as, say, you would be of the side effects. But yes, enjoy the sugars, but just be aware that maybe on each sitting you would keep it to maybe a minimum of 20 grams per sitting, and not exceeding, if you can help it, 70 grams a day over the holidays. And of course, trying to stay hydrated as well with that to help them sugars get flushed out of the body. So that would be the first thing, just watching your sugars and knowing that a sugar is not just a sugar or a cake or chocolate or biscuits. Sugars come in the forms of course, we know carbohydrates. Pretty much all carbohydrates are sugar, but starchy vegetables as well. So where you can, avoid starchy vegetables and go for the green vegetables too. It's just to keep the mind sharp and focused and avoiding that brain fog that you can get from having too much inflammation in the brain. So just making some smart choices, but still enjoying your time. The next then, of course, would be sleep. Making sure that you're still getting your sleep. We do a lot of extra partying and socializing over the Christmas, but when you can make sure that you're getting extra sleep, you're giving your brain that chance to do any repairs and memory processing and regulation that it needs to do that does happen during sleep. So it's important that you're getting sleep. We do know that the brain shrinks by 60% when we sleep, and by doing this it allows your brain to basically wash itself. So I like to think of the analogy that a little kind of road sweeper comes in and it cleans in between your brain cells, and it helps your brain do any memory processing that it needs to do. And that means that whatever you have learned, it's called synaptic density. It means whatever you say have learned today, be it in Monopoly or poker or whatever you're doing over the holidays, whatever you've learned, your synaptic density or your memory processing will happen tonight. And that will allow you then to come back refreshed and enabled to learn more and process more tomorrow. So sleep is very important in that sense, and making sure that you're trying at least to get your full REM sleep. So that's 90 minutes at a time, aiming for 7 to 8 hours of sleep if possible. I know that's hard, but a minimum of 6 hours. So that enables you to get 4 full sets of full REM sleep in there, allowing your brain to get everything it needs to do so that you're more focused the following day. And of course, this helps you make smarter choices too. We also want to make sure that we're trying to wake up and go sleep at the same time. For example, tonight, I know a lot of people will stay up later on Christmas Eve celebrating with family and having some drinks. And then we will get up even earlier in the morning with kids. If you've kids, you could be up as early as 4 a.m. tomorrow, opening Christmas presents. But apart from that, all the other days, trying to get up at the same time every day is a big help to keeping your brain working at optimal levels. And we know that sleep plays a huge part in Alzheimer's and now Parkinson's as well. So being able to prevent that with such a simple tool as waking and sleeping at the same time every day is going to help. Like, it's amazing. It's going to help avoid like medication and other stuff that may be needed and that many people have tried in the fight against Alzheimer's in the past. Now we found out that sleep is a key player in preventing that. So when we wake, we want to keep our inner circadian rhythm, so that's our natural clock, in line with the light-dark clock of the earth. So when we stay in line with that, our brain knows when it should be awake, when it should be asleep, what hormones should be utilized or released when we wake and when we sleep. So it's very important, especially when it comes to depression. And we know now that chronic sleep deprivation, a brain that is sleep deprived, looks pretty much like a brain that is depressed. So that's huge that we can recognize something like that. So keeping sleep is very important, especially when we come back to how much food are we going to consume over the next few days. Which is great because it helps us with our social aspects and it helps us work on building relationships and working on that aspect of health, but just protecting our brain while we're at it, because we've only got one brain and you want it working at optimal levels for you, especially if you want to be your greatest in the gym, in your business, in whatever ambitions or dreams you aspire to have. You want to be working at optimal levels. So your brain is a key player in that as much as your physical health would be. So getting that sleep and keeping your sleep regulated so that your photo period or your brain's wake sleep cycles are in line with the Earth's light dark cycles. They're very important. So that's your inner circadian clock, which is what controls your hormones and tells your brain where you need new brain cells and where it needs to be repaired and cleaned and so on at night. So that's very important that you do that. And then, of course, you probably know what I'm going to say next is exercise. Exercise is not only very important for the body and regenerating new tissues, but it's also very important for regenerating new brain cells. And this is where we go back to preventing the likes of Alzheimer's and dementia and Parkinson's disease, and even so far as ADD and ADH. Exercise is a big key player in that. It's only recently now that scientists and doctors are starting to call Alzheimer's diabetes type 3, because it's shown now that Alzheimer's is actually our brain's inability to regulate or detect insulin. So that's huge that we now know that. By knowing that, we can help prevent that and hopefully be able to prevent further instances of Alzheimer's and dementia throughout our family and friends and as time goes by. So that's very important that we would maintain our exercise for that. So, and even the most important exercise for brain health would be the likes of meditation and mindfulness, and the likes of inversion, which I teach in my HEDA guide, where we help flush out the lymphatic system and getting rid of toxins, which also helps get rid of toxins in the brain. So meditation is very important, and mindfulness, just being mindful in everything you do and how you move. And of course, walking is a huge player in keeping your brain healthy. So just getting out there and getting that fresh air in through the brain and circulating and helping regenerate and rebuild new brain cells. It's good to get out in the fresh air, get the body moving, get the blood cells moving, give your brain a chance to just take a breather from all that. In some cases stale oxygen that may be in your house. When we get outside, you can actually recycle the oxygen that's going through your brain and bring in some new clean oxygen that's going to clean the cells, and just of course feed the blood that's going into the brain cells. So the oxygen is very important. So getting out, even though the weather is crazy here in Alberta, we've got a lot of snow, even getting out for 10 minutes, just getting some fresh air, getting some vitamin D on the skin is going to help your brain cells a lot more. So when we think of all this, what we have, all the tools that we have, that we can then reassess, that we don't need to feel groggy or confused or not focused or functioning on optimal levels over the Christmas, because a lot of it does come back to the sugars, which is in the alcohol, which is in the mince pies, which is in the cake, in the ice cream and all that. And if we're mindful of that and know how it affects our body, yes, we know that sugar helps us put on weight, but do we know how sugar affects every cell in our body? Do we know how sugar affects our brain cells? Yes, we do. And now we know the tools to help fight them or fend them off. So that's it. I just wanted to give you guys an extra tool over Christmas. I'm sure there's plenty of other health coaches out there giving you tools on how to watch your calorie intake and lose weight and stay active over Christmas, but really we can forget about our brain, and our brain is our most important player or tool if we want to work at optimal levels coming into 2017 and kill some goals. So I do go into all of this in a lot more detail in my HIITA guide. If you want more information, I will post the link below. But I go into a lot of information on sleep, on some biohacking tools, on different food types, on what's the best kind of food for you, how different eating styles work and affect your body and so on. So if you'd like more information on that, I'll post the link below. But otherwise, I'm off to just pick up some Christmas gifts, and I wish you all a very Merry Christmas, and of course a very healthy, prosperous new year, and safe travels everyone in that snow, because it's crazy out there. And if you're going to fall off the wagon, at least enjoy the fall. So enjoy your Christmas with your family and friends, and nurture and build those relationships. And that's it. See you all probably in 2017. Bye.